Picture this, you're standing in a storm, rain pouring down, winds howling, and the weight of everything you've been through pressing down on your shoulders. You want to run, to escape, to pretend it isn't happening. But deep down, you know you can't outrun it. You have to face it. That's where the magic is. That's where you grow. And tonight, I'm here to tell you one thing. Let it end. Let it hurt. Let it heal, and let it go. Because on the other side of your pain is your power. Stay with me. And I promise by the time this speech ends, you'll feel ready to take that next step toward freedom. Well, things in life aren't meant to last. We know this deep down, don't we? Yet when it's time to say goodbye, whether it's to a relationship, a job, or even a version of ourselves, we resist. We hold on like our lives depend on it, clinging to the comfort of the familiar even when it's no longer serving us. Why? Because endings feel like failures. They feel like losses. But let me tell you something, they're not. Endings are necessary. They are life's way of making room for something new. Imagine a garden. You can't keep planting seeds in soil that's overcrowded and expect anything to grow. You have to clear the old to make space for the new. And yet so many of us refuse to let go. We stay in relationships that have run their course. We hold on to dreams that no longer align with who we are. We grip tightly to old identities because we're too scared to step into the unknown. But life is about flow, about seasons. Holding on too long to something that's meant to end doesn't just stop you from moving forward. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of stagnation and pain. So the challenge isn't just about recognizing when something needs to end, it's about having the courage to let it. To look at the situation, no matter how hard, and say, this is over and that's okay. Because endings aren't failures. They're beginnings in disguise. They're the moments when life whispers, you've outgrown this. It's time to move on. And the sooner we accept that truth, the sooner we can step into the next chapter of our lives, lighter, freer, and ready for what's next. Pain is uncomfortable. It's raw, it's heavy, and it feels like it's pressing down on your chest, making it hard to breathe. It's human nature to want to avoid it, isn't it? We distract ourselves, we numb it, we pretend we're fine. But let me tell you something real. Pain doesn't go away just because you ignore it. It doesn't disappear because you're too busy to feel it. In fact, the more you bury it, the more it finds a way to creep back up, sometimes in ways you don't even recognize. You see, pain isn't the enemy, it's a messenger. It's life's way of telling you something needs your attention, something is broken, something isn't right. And while it's tempting to run from it, the truth is the only way out of pain is through it. You have to sit with it. You have to let yourself cry those tears, scream if you need to, feel every ounce of that hurt. Because as much as it burns, it's in that burning that transformation happens. Think about it. When you break a bone, the healing process begins with setting it right. That's not a painless process, is it? It hurts, but it's necessary. Emotional pain works the same way. You can't heal what you don't acknowledge. You can't move on from what you refuse to face. And here's the thing, pain, as intense as it feels in the moment, doesn't last forever. It's temporary. But the growth it brings, that's permanent. Pain stretches you, reshapes you, makes you stronger. It teaches you resilience, empathy, and the kind of courage you can't learn in the easy times. So don't run from it. Don't numb it. Let it hurt. Let it do its work. Because on the other side of that hurt is something beautiful. A version of you that's stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next. Healing takes time. It's not a race, and it's not something you can rush, no matter how much you want to. We live in a world where everything is instant gratification, instant solutions, instant distractions. But healing doesn't work like that. It's not a quick fix. It's not a straight line. It's a process, one that demands patience, self-compassion, and trust. You might wake up one day feeling like you're finally okay, like you've turned the corner. Then the next day, out of nowhere, it hits you again. The sadness, the anger, the questions that still don't have answers. That's normal. Healing isn't about having a perfect streak of pain-free days. It's about learning to navigate the ups and downs, knowing that every step, even the hard ones, is part of the journey. Think of a physical wound. When you get a deep cut, the healing process doesn't happen overnight. First, the wound has to be cleaned. That part stings. Then the body starts repairing itself from the inside out. Scabs form, scars appear, and over time, the skin grows stronger in that spot. Emotional healing is no different. The hurt you feel is part of the repair process. And just like with a physical wound, you have to let it take its course. You can't rush it, and you can't skip steps. And let me tell you something important. Healing doesn't mean you'll forget. It doesn't mean you'll erase the scars or pretend the pain never happened. What it means is that the pain loses its grip on you. It stops defining you. It becomes part of your story, not the whole story. So give yourself grace. Stop judging where you think you should be by now. Stop comparing your healing to someone else's. Healing isn't linear. It's deeply personal. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll look back and see how far you've come. The things that once felt unbearable will feel lighter. The wounds that once felt raw will feel distant. That's the beauty of healing. It's slow, but when it happens, it's powerful. Trust the process and trust yourself. You're getting there one day at a time. Letting go. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But if you've ever tried to do it, you know it's one of the hardest things you'll ever face. Letting go means releasing the grip you have on the past, and that's terrifying. Because even when the past hurts, even when it's heavy, it's familiar, it's what you know, and there's a strange kind of comfort in holding on, as though keeping it close somehow keeps you safe. Those people, like the vultures who keep their hives in the sun, are letting go of what led them to their fate. But here's the truth. Holding on to what's gone doesn't protect you, it traps you. It keeps you chained to a weight you were never meant to carry. Think about it. How much energy are you spending clinging to the what-ifs, the should-haves, and the if-onlys? How much of your present is being robbed by your refusal to let go of the past? The relationship that ended, the mistake you made, the opportunity you missed, they're over. No amount of replaying it in your mind, no amount of regret, and no amount of wishing can change that. But what you can change is how you move forward. Letting go isn't about forgetting or pretending it didn't happen. It's not about denying your emotions or acting like you're fine when you're not. Letting go is about acceptance. It's about acknowledging what happened, feeling the emotions that come with it, and then making the conscious decision not to let it control you anymore. Imagine holding a rope tied to a boulder, dragging it behind you everywhere you go. It's exhausting, isn't it? That's what holding on feels like. Now imagine loosening your grip, dropping the rope, and walking forward without that weight. That's what letting go feels like. It's freedom. It's lightness. It's giving yourself permission to stop carrying what no longer serves you. And let me tell you this, letting go isn't weakness, it's strength, it's courage. It's standing up and saying, I deserve better than to let this define me. It's choosing yourself. It's reclaiming your power. So let it go. Release the anger, the guilt, the pain, and the regret. Let it stay where it belongs in the past. Because the moment you let it go, you make space. Space for peace. Space for joy. Space for new beginnings. And isn't that what you deserve? To move forward lighter, freer, and ready to embrace the life waiting for you on the other side of letting go? This moment got real. So we move forward lighter, freer, and ready to embrace the life waiting for you on the other side of letting go. Pain is not just something we endure, it's something we learn from. As much as we might wish otherwise, pain has a purpose. It's not here to punish us. It's here to teach us, to transform us, and to make us stronger than we were before. The truth is, some lessons in life can only be learned through struggle. They don't come in the easy moments. They come in the tears, the heartbreaks, and the times when we feel like we've hit rock bottom. Pain is a teacher, but it doesn't use words. It uses experiences. It forces us to pay attention to what we've ignored or avoided. It shines a light on what's broken, what's missing, and what needs to change. And as much as it hurts, pain wakes us up. It pulls us out of our comfort zones and makes us face the truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. Think back to a moment in your life when you were struggling, when everything felt like it was falling apart. At the time, it felt unbearable, didn't it? But now, looking back, can you see the lessons that pain taught you? Maybe it taught you about your strength, your resilience, or your ability to overcome. Maybe it showed you who you are and what you're capable of. Or maybe it revealed who and what really matters in your life. Whatever it was, that pain wasn't wasted, it shaped you. The thing about pain is that it's not just about survival, it's about growth. It's about becoming someone who is wiser, more empathetic, and more courageous. Pain gives you perspective. It reminds you of what you can endure and what you're capable of overcoming. It deepens your appreciation for the good moments because you know how fleeting they can be. And here's the most important thing to understand. Pain is temporary, but the lessons it teaches are permanent. It sharpens you, refines you, and prepares you for what's ahead. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Because within every hurt there is wisdom. Within every struggle there is strength. And within every painful moment there is an opportunity to grow into the person you were meant to be. Pain is a teacher that we never ask for, but it's one we desperately need. So when it shows up, don't run from it, don't numb it, don't ignore it, lean into it. Listen to what it's trying to teach you. And when the lesson becomes clear, you'll realize something incredible. Pain doesn't just break you, it builds you. Healing takes patience. It's not an event, it's a journey, one that unfolds gradually, often in ways you don't even notice until you look back. When we're hurting, we want the pain to go away immediately. We want to snap our fingers and feel okay again, but healing doesn't work that way. It's not a straight path and it doesn't follow a timeline. It's a process that demands something many of us struggle with: surrender and time. When we're in pain, it's tempting to try to force our way through it, to rush the process, to distract ourselves, or to act like we've already moved on. But that only delays the healing. You can't skip over the hard parts. You can't fast forward through the moments when it feels like you're taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Those moments are just as much a part of the healing as the breakthroughs. Imagine planting a seed. You don't see anything happen right away, do you? For weeks, maybe months, it seems like nothing is changing. But underground, the roots are forming. The seed is growing. And one day, almost without warning, it breaks through the soil. That's what healing is like. The work happens beneath the surface, often when you least expect it. Healing also isn't about erasing what happened. It's not about pretending the pain never existed. It's about finding peace with it. It's about carrying the memories without letting them weigh you down. It's about allowing the wounds to close so they don't keep reopening every time life brushes against them. And yes, sometimes those wounds leave scars, but scars aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of strength. They're reminders of what you've survived and how far you've come. Healing also requires self-compassion. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and patience you'd offer to someone you love. It's giving yourself permission to rest when you need to cry when you need to, and to lean on others when you feel overwhelmed. Healing isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of resilience. It's proof that you're choosing yourself, choosing to move forward, even when it's hard. And here's the most beautiful thing about healing. It's not just about returning to who you were before the pain. It's about becoming someone new, someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Healing transforms you. It changes how you see yourself and the world. It gives you the tools to face life's challenges with greater courage. So be patient with yourself. Give yourself the time and space you need to heal. Trust that even on the days when it feels like nothing is changing, you're making progress. Because one day you'll look back and realize the pain that once felt unbearable is softened. The wounds that once felt raw have closed. And the version of yourself you've become is someone you're proud of. That's the power of healing. It doesn't just restore, it renews. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. People think it's about letting someone off the hook, about saying, what you did to me is okay. But that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. It's about setting yourself free. It's about releasing the bitterness, anger, and resentment that keep you tied to a moment or a person who hurt you. You see, holding on to anger doesn't hurt the other person, it hurts you. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every grudge, every resentment, every unresolved hurt adds another rock. And the longer you carry it, the more it weighs you down. It robs you of your peace, your joy, and your ability to move forward. Forgiveness is how you take off that backpack and set it down for good. But let me be clear. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean condoning what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. Forgiveness is about acknowledging the pain, learning the lesson, and deciding not to let that pain control your life anymore. It's about reclaiming your power. Because when you hold on to anger, you're giving the person who hurt you a piece of your heart and mind. Forgiveness takes that power back. And forgiveness isn't just about others, it's about yourself too. Think about how many times you've beaten yourself up over mistakes you've made, things you've said, or chances you've missed. How much energy have you spent replaying those moments in your mind, wishing you could go back and do things differently? But here's the truth. You can't change the past, no matter how much you dwell on it. What you can do is forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself means looking at your past with compassion instead of judgment. It means recognizing that you're human, that you were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time. It means letting go of the shame and guilt that keep you stuck so you can grow into the person you're meant to be. Forgiveness, whether for someone else or for yourself, is an act of courage. It takes strength to release the pain you've been holding on to. But when you do, something amazing happens. You create space. Space for healing. Space for peace. Space for love. So take a moment and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's keeping me stuck? Who do I need to forgive, not for their sake, but for mine? And most importantly, what would it feel like to let that burden go? Because when you choose forgiveness, you're choosing freedom. And that's a gift no one can take away from you. Sometimes the hardest part about moving forward is accepting that you may never get the answers you're looking for. We all want closure, don't we? We want to understand why things happened the way they did, why someone we loved walked away, why an opportunity slipped through our fingers, or why life didn't turn out the way we planned. It's human nature to search for meaning, to piece together the why so we can make sense of the pain. But here's the truth. Life doesn't always give us the answers we want. Sometimes the apologies we deserve never come. Sometimes the explanations we crave are never offered, and sometimes the why remains a mystery. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn, but it's also one of the most liberating, because when you stop demanding closure from others or from life, you take back your power. Closure isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. It's a decision you make to stop looking backward for answers and start looking forward for peace. It's about accepting that some chapters will end without a neat conclusion, and that's okay. Not everything in life will make sense, and not every hurt will come with an explanation. But that doesn't mean you can't heal. Think of it this way: holding on to the need for closure is like standing in front of a door that's already locked, waiting for someone to come and open it. You could stand there forever, wasting precious time and energy. Or you could turn around, see the open doors waiting for you, and walk through them. That's what letting go of closure looks like. It's choosing to move forward even when you don't have all the answers. And let me tell you something important. Not having closure doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you're weak or that you didn't deserve better. It simply means that life is unpredictable and some things are beyond our control. But what is within your control is how you respond. You get to decide whether you stay stuck in the past or step into the future. Creating your own closure means finding peace within yourself, not from someone else. It means saying, I may not understand why this happened, but I'm choosing to let it go. It's recognizing that your worth isn't tied to someone else's validation or explanation. It's knowing that you can heal and move on even without all the pieces of the puzzle. So let go of the need for closure. Stop waiting for an apology that may never come or an explanation that may never arrive. Decide right here and now that your peace matters more than the answers you're seeking. Because when you let go of the need for closure, you make space for something greater: freedom, healing, and the chance to write the next chapter of your story on your terms. Moving on doesn't mean erasing the past or pretending it didn't happen. It doesn't mean forgetting the lessons, the love, or even the pain. Moving on is about making a choice, a conscious decision to stop letting the past define your present and dictate your future. It's about choosing yourself, your happiness, and your peace over the weight of what once was. Sometimes we cling to the past because it feels safe, even when it's painful. We replay memories, wondering what we could have done differently or imagining how things might have turned out. It's like watching the same movie over and over, hoping for a different ending. But the truth is, no matter how many times you replay it, the story stays the same. The only way to change the story is to stop watching it and start writing a new one. Moving on doesn't mean you won't still feel the hurt from time to time. It doesn't mean you won't think about what happened or wish in quiet moments that things had been different. Those thoughts and feelings are normal. But moving on means you don't let those moments control you anymore. You acknowledge them, you feel them, and then you let them pass. It's important to understand that moving on isn't about someone else, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your power, your time, and your energy. It's about taking the focus off what happened and putting it back on yourself, on your growth, your goals, and your happiness. Imagine a bird in a cage holding the key to its freedom in its own beak. All it has to do is drop the key into the lock, but it hesitates. The cage is familiar and the outside world feels uncertain. That bird is all of us when we're stuck in the past. The key to freedom has always been in our hands, but we have to be brave enough to use it. Moving on is an act of courage. It's choosing to step out of the cage and into the unknown. It's deciding to leave behind the pain, the anger, and the regret, even when it feels like they've become a part of you. And yes, it's scary. Letting go of the familiar, even when it's painful, takes strength. But the moment you take that step, you begin to realize just how much life is waiting for you on the other side. Moving on doesn't happen overnight, it's a process. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's okay. The important thing is that you keep choosing yourself every single day. You keep choosing to move forward even when the past tries to pull you back. And one day you'll look up and realize the past no longer has a hold on you. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more alive than you ever thought possible. Because moving on isn't just about leaving something behind, it's about stepping into something better. It's about embracing the possibility of joy, love, and new beginnings. It's about writing the next chapter of your life with courage and hope. And isn't that what you deserve? A life that's not defined by what happened yesterday, but by the endless possibilities of tomorrow. Growth is often disguised as discomfort. It doesn't come in the form of smooth, easy transitions. It comes through challenges, setbacks, and moments when you feel like you're stuck in a place you don't want to be. It's in those moments of struggle that growth actually begins. Because you can't grow without being stretched. You can't reach new heights without pushing yourself beyond where you've been before. Growth requires stepping outside your comfort zone. And that's always uncomfortable. We often resist growth because we fear change. We fear what will happen if we try something new or take a different path. But the truth is, the only way to evolve is to embrace change, not run from it. Think about all the times in your life when you've experienced real growth. Every single time, it was preceded by a period of uncertainty. Every time, it was preceded by fear or doubt.